Yeah, it's the curvature thing I was just talking about. I've already explained curvature. Yeah, flights would, it's basically like if you're on the outside of the ball, the flights would take longer. Because of altitude. Like if you go higher, it would make a difference, but it really doesn't make that big of a difference. Because like I said, for the most part, in between any one point to another, it's going to be straight. You know, on the inside of a ball. On the outside, though, you literally have to really hug it. So like every little bit of altitude will really make a difference. Seems like the only understanding this thing has of spheres on a high scale is only being on the outside of it. See, so for example, a plane flying at altitude 30,000 miles per hour. 30,000 feet, the circumference of the Earth, blah, 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 blah. So they're taking that in there too. So they're nerfing it big time. Like, they're nerfing that altitude basically. And even when they nerf the altitude by using the Earth as a nerfing factor, but it's true, it would be a factor if it was a globe. You wouldn't have that big of a difference. It would be like, you'd have to run like another 300 and something miles, but the fact that they use the Earth in the calculation is really broken. Like, they really didn't need to do that at all. Because the point is, like, but they actually had to, because it's a factor with balls. Because they're just so, like, you have to, like, it's like, it's hard to hold on to it, it's not nurturing you, it's fucking trying to get rid of you, so it's like you gotta be hugging it and shit, always nosing down instead of just flying straight, wherever for the most part, as long as you're not like so fucking high you're about to hit heaven. Then you'll notice that there's a big ball up there because you're too fucking close to it, and you're but down here you ain't gonna notice that shit. You see how big that sky. So yeah, that's pretty much sums that shit up. The wind blowing, directions of the wind, that's a factor. Blue balls curve forward or downward equally. The fuck is it? Gravity ain't got nothing to do with no damn curve. Like, what the fuck? Alright. I'll circle forward equally to how much it circled down. Oh, it doesn't want to admit it. I forgot. It's a little more forward. Like I said, it tries to say it's a lot more forward than down, which is actually true. It's like, it's probably like 7 to 1 or 8 to 1, It's still noticeable. Circle the disc equally up as it is to the side. Circle disc. I was really trying to get this thing to say something. If in a ball, it will curve to eye. Okay, here we go. This is gonna get fun. Yeah, that song quiet as shit. You ain't fucking hear it. I know I got it low so y'all can hear me though. Cause I like this song. This song is all loud and shit. Alright, let's do this. If in a ball with a curve out the eye lobe. It was hating on that. I had to change the steel because it's literally thinking like a real ball, like not big. That's when I realized I had to tell it how big it was. Because if I didn't make it steel, then it was talking about how it's really exact, you know? So it was talking about how it's a regular ball, it's thinking like rubber or something. It was saying that I would contort it and stuff like that. So I started making a steel one. See? Earth size would it curve up to eye level? Yep. You know what doesn't do that? All the rest. Stand aside, steel ball. Circle up. Eye level. Because the Earth is a sphere, is a radius. Small amount of curvature, but be enough to make the Earth appear round. If you were standing inside the steel ball, the size of the Earth, the circle would curve up to eye level by about 1 meter to eye level. This small amount of curvature, but be noticeable to the human eye. The reason why the circle of the sphere curves up is because the sphere is curved. When you stand on the surface of the sphere, you're actually standing on a curved surface. This means if you look straight ahead, you're not looking in a straight line. You're looking in a curved line. It curves up. The amount of curvature that you see depends on how far you are from the center of the sphere. That is so true. Wow. That's why when you get up real high, you can see more of it. It's like the opposite. It's like the opposite of being inside of it. Because the further you go up from a ball, just imagine going up from the globe, you see it less and you go off into inner space, you know? I mean, outer space. That's what they call it. See, I think inner, you know what I mean? Because I know it's inside. And yeah. That's really cool. It's the opposite. You would get up and see heaven on earth when you go up, but you'd be able to see more of earth, just like we do. You know what I mean? You get to see further because it's curving up with you and all that. That's so cool. The only real limit is when heaven starts to actually get in the way of the view. That's really cool. And the other one is if you're going off a ball, it's just going to basically start looking like the globe off the bat. You know what I mean? Imagine the globe from space. That's a ball, you know what I mean? And you'd hug it for a little while, and eventually it'll be like it'll be like a thing off and real below you. Worse than a flat earth. Like a flat earth is kind of like that too. Like when you go high, it's going to end up just like this thing way down there. Much easier. But if it curves up, you get to see further and further and further. The only difference is this heaven above us that blocks us from going too high. Alright. Yep. Yeah, buddy. About courage. Courage will be very large. And you'll see more of the earth. It'll look like a straight shot. In the case of a steel ball the size of the Earth, the curvature will be very large. It's because the Earth is very large. Circle of the ball, curve about 1 meter. Probably not noticeable. If I'm standing on the ball now, right? Remember the globe, right? The globe says we're standing on the ball, right? If I was standing on the ball, would it curve up to eye level or down? You're standing on the ball, the circle of the ball would curve down. Not down to eye level, but down. This is because the ball is a sphere. The sphere is curved inward, you see, not around you. Inward, away from you. When you stand on the surface of the sphere, you're actually standing on the curved surface. If you look straight ahead, you're not looking in a straight line, you're looking in a curved line. The amount of curvature that you see depends on how far you are from the sphere. Yeah, eventually you'll see the whole ball, because instead of it curving around you and allowing you to see more as you go up, it'll curve down and away from you and become a ball really quick. You'd be surprised. And then you just, because it's inward, not, around you. And it's away, it's like you're going away from it, not just climbing deeper into it and seeing further, like when you're inside of it. And in the case of the ball, the curvature would be very large. So, yeah. Circle of the spheres down. Yeah, the reason why the circle of the sphere curves down is because the sphere curves inward. You see, down, not up. You see, it would not curve up to your eye level. The flat Earth, you can find out this issue too. It'd be just like this plane that's like, just like how the ground below you is. But when you go higher, it'll be, it'll be kind of like the other thing that's curving down. It will last longer because it's like going off a distance, but it'd be more obvious than you'd imagine that it's like way down there and not curving up. I really kind of want to get on the airplane again, just like kind of visualize this shit, like in person, But this is due to the force of gravity. Well, let's talk about gravity. Yeah. Flat surface would be at eye level. Okay. On a flat surface, would it be at eye level? No. If you were standing on a flat surface, the circle of the ball, see, it always looks like that. It's but not be at eye level. This because the circle of the ball is a two-dimensional shape. Exactly. They do not have an up or down direction. You see, yeah, you don't get the curve that up to your eye. Like y'all been programmed from your birth about perspective. I remember I learned it in AP academic art, AP art. I'm a real good artist, you can tell. I'm pretty creative, But I was in AP art only because my mom, she could draw real good. She drew something for me, and then they put me in AP art. 8/11, August 11th. That's hilarious. So, what was it? Oh yeah, they taught me about perspective and stuff. Curves up and curves down. One's curving up and the other one's just kind of getting in the way. You're seeing the whole thing. You go up to a certain point and then it kind of blocks you. Two-dimensional shape, so it doesn't go up or down. Circle of the ball would be facing in all directions, would appear to be flat. Yeah, that's true. But once you go up, you would notice it's not coming with you. You know what I mean? It's not curving up. You see? Just think about it. Like, things right next to you can be flat to a degree. Seeming. But are they really? So it would appear flat, and you stand on the edge of the circle. If you were to stand at one edge of the heaven, this is why they don't want us to do it. And then you're gonna see it's not flat. You see what I mean? Because you would go to the edge and you'd be like, hold on, there's no edge. There's no edge to the world. This is the thing that you flat earthers, when they made that joke about you, I've been one before. You gotta humble yourself and go for the truth, but a lot of y'all can't do that, unfortunately. Far too many. You gotta go where the evidence takes you, man. That's where you gotta go. That's why I know it's like some of them can't do it, man. Can't do it, boy. So let me see the circle. Oh yeah, they can't go to the edge. And then the circle. That's what they were talking about when they said the flat earthers are onto something. It's not flat, but you're onto something. It's not the globe. You're halfway there. You gotta explain these things that you couldn't explain. And I already explained them. 24-hour sun, all that. Every little thing. And you know what eclipses are? It's that big old giant ball that gets in the way of the sun. And that's what that giant eclipse is. It's that giant heaven above us. That's what that is. It's massive. So that's why you get all these special effects when that eclipse happens. That's your dark sun. It's right above us. Black sun. Like a black hole, you know? Because the crazy thing is those lights we see, if they're actually massive, it's almost like NASA said. In some ways they were right, but they lied to us. They could literally be really far away. That's true. Because things that are really massive can look very small. I mean very small. Because they're so condensed and they're so elegant. Can't even conceptualize. That's why the Hindus showed all these layers to the earth and all these layers. That's how you would understand it. It's just a Russian doll. Remember them layers? The Hindus show the heavens above and then the waters below too. A circle of the ball would be facing all directions. If you were to stand at the edge of the circle would appear to curve down. So on the flat earth, it would look like you're curving down, not up. So remember, he said it was a disc with an upturned edge. Upturned, not downturned. Remember, it says even on a flat earth, it's going to look like it curves down because it's just like the ground below us, you see? It's relatively flat, you know. But once you get the full thing, you know, you see that it's round, you know. It'd be more obvious if we're on the outside that it's round than on the inside. But on the inside, it's very obvious too because it curves up. So it appeared to be flat. It appeared to curve down, but that is just illusion. The circle is actually flat, but it is being seen from the perspective that makes it appear to curve. The only way for the circle to be a ball, to be at the eye height, at eye level. I mean, my bad. The only way for a circle of the ball to be at eye level would be if the ball were a cylinder. Yeah, that's not happening. They always say that though, so I can't pay attention to that. The cylinders have tops, and you know what he's talking about? He's talking about cylinders. He's talking about being inside. So if you were to standing on the flat surface, the circle of the ball would not be at eye level. You see, the only one that's at eye level is the one that curves up. You see, it's the one I showed you at the beginning, the concave. It's the exact opposite of what they told us. Remember, that's their motto, and everything they believe is like the exact opposite of the truth, you know? Then you'll know your programming of these idiots has succeeded, you know? They want to program you guys into believing lies, man, like the opposite of the truth. So what's the opposite of being on the outside of the ball? It's being on the inside, you know? Like, imagine trying to grow stuff on the outside of your body instead of inside. You see how stupid that is? The moon is, that's why we can hold temperature. That's why we have an atmosphere, you see. The only reason that things up in heaven don't have that much of it as they see is because different densities that they're just not even aware of, like a fish in a fish pan, like in a fish bowl, like because the fish they see. Remember, I already told you how the fish see our sky as water. Just it's densities, man, and they see their water as like clear. People is meant to be in certain places, and that's just how it is. If the moon is covered in dust, doesn't reflect sunlight. Someone was like, it shouldn't reflect sunlight because it's covered in dust, but that's actually wrong, because that stuff's actually really reflective. And just fly in a vacuum. No, just cannot fly in a vacuum. You guys are right. Because jets work by pushing off of air, right? I mean, I'll read this just for you guys' sake, because I know a lot of people want to hear this read. No jets cannot fly in a vacuum, just need air to create thrust. And there's no air in the vacuum. It doesn't have anything to push off of. It's not going to tell you that, though. They just work by taking in air, compressing it, and then burning fuel in it. They think all you have to do is push out stuff. They don't realize you have to have something to push off of. Typically. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm still investigating it. But jet engines sure as hell don't work that way. It look like they're using jet engines to me a lot of the time. Like a big old jet engine to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Because they call it something different with the rockets that they send to space. There's the jet forward. In a vacuum, there's air to take in, compress and burn. It's really the moving of the air that does it. This means that jets cannot create thrust, they cannot fly. You notice how it doesn't talk about pushing off the air? It just kind of like talks about burning gas and stuff like that. There are some experimental jets that have been designed to fly in a vacuum. Those jets use different methods to create thrust, such as using electric motors and using nuclear power. However, these jets are still in the experimental stage. They are practical and for everyday use. So while it is theoretically possible for jets to fly in a vacuum, it is not currently possible. The technology they have. So they can make rockets fly in space, but not jets. That's really funny, isn't it? Alright, so how do space shuttles create thrust in a vacuum? Create thrust using rocket engines. Oh, rocket engines magically don't have to push off anything anymore, guys. They do not need air to create thrust. These niggas always call me while I'm doing shit, bro. I'm good, bro. Call me and shit, bro. I ain't returning this motherfuckers. Text messages shit, and they ain't gonna try and call me though. Fed ass niggas, bro. Space shuttles create thrust in a vacuum using rocket engines. Rocket engines do not eat blah blah blah. They work by burning fuel and oxidize. This produces hot gases that are expelled out of the back of the engine. It creates thrust, which pushes against pushes the rocket forward. The space shuttle has 3 main rockets. Interesting. Oxidizer, okay. So they're creating their own oxygen and stuff like that. Fuel and the oxidizer are pumped into the combustion chamber. They're ignited. I see. Still not pushing off nothing. They just added oxygen to it. There's still a whole bunch of flames coming out the back, pushing on relatively nothing. Hot gas are expelled out of the back. This is hilarious. I gotta ask it, man. I gotta try it. I know it's gonna bullshit me, but I'm gonna try it. You see, they don't push against nothing. It's bullshit, bro. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. Bull motherfucking shit. They float. They fall right back. That's why when you see the rockets go up, they never go into space. Like, they don't even go like very high. This is literally why. Because they haven't figured out the kind of propulsion that works in that kind of environment. I have. That shit's hilarious, man. That is just. I'm trying to think, could it actually work just pushing on nothing? Like, there's a little bit of stuff to push off of, but relatively nothing. Not something that you're gonna. Maybe that's why they have some kind of air in there. I don't know. I just don't think it just doesn't make sense. That's the point. And there ain't nothing to push against, man. That's why all the other things fall. I'm done. I don't believe it. I'm not buying what to sell. Cause I'm like, how the fuck are these hot gases doing that? You know, like, hot fucking gases, really? It's the same thing. Looks the same fucking way a jet, you know, like, a bunch of shit on the bottom. Not rocket fucking science, man. No. Momentum. That's all they talk about is fucking momentum. There is no momentum in the vacuum, man. There is none. Nothing like, there's none. There's literally no G-forces. Remember I showed y'all that? When you're in a vacuum, there's basically like there's no G-forces. If I call it a vacuum, they'll say there's G-forces. But if I talk about anti-gravity, it gets rid of G-forces because it's the same thing. There's no acceleration and deacceleration. That's what causes G-forces. That's what are the dumb things you say? Momentum. Like, I don't know how to explain it. All that kind of stuff breaks down. It's this thing to talk about momentum. Like, I don't know how to explain this shit. Like, how are you gonna change that? Like, when you have nothing to push off. Like, what is this thrust in a place where there's nothing? What does it do? Like, maybe it doesn't take much to get it moving. But if that was the case, If they were really up there, it'd be nothing like what they show us. It would be just like the UFOs. It would be, I literally just figured out how it works out there because of their own stupidity. Because I thought about how it really worked, because I didn't have to think about that before. And yeah, they're bullshit. Because when there's up there, there's no acceleration, no deceleration, none of that. You wouldn't see going through that kind of stuff. There's also, what is it? There's no air resistance. So I don't know what the hell they're talking about with their re-entry. There's literally no air resistance up there. It would only get bad when they get down like where we can see them real easily. Just like with the, the asteroids and stuff when they come in. It was just, they come in fully formed for a good little while, and then they hit the real dense part of the air, and that's what breaks it up. It's not that, no electromagnetic field, it's the air. And what have they really been fucking weakening? Not our electromagnetic field naturally, legitimately. They've been cutting off the oxygen and stuff like that, which is a big part of the pressure system that keeps us here on this planet, So people in the past, when there was more oxygen, they weighed more. That's why they grew bigger. It's just so obvious, It's just pressure, man. And if there's no air pressure up there, what the hell is he pushing off of? That's why everything, when you see it come from heaven down to here, it just falls, you see? It just kind of falls, unless it's one of those guys that had that propulsion. They have that kind of propulsion. Most other things, like natural things, they just fall. Angels sometimes float around and shit like that. But they fall through that one part unless they have propulsion, which is like why they fall. I'm pretty sure they lose their energy or something like that. They lose whatever was keeping them up there and they fall or whatever. Or maybe something knocks them from up there. But anyway, so like this, I guess. Bullshit. Not really here. Is it possible to create momentum in a vacuum? There really are no external forces. But also, like I said, every time the thrusters would kick on, since there's no resistance, that's one thing that's true, it would automatically change directions immediately. It wouldn't take a long time like they show in space. Like anything. So for example, if anybody touches the ship, they should move it. They should be able to move the ship just with any of their movement. But it doesn't make no difference, really, does it? Exactly. Because they don't have any weight. Just like the thrust doesn't have any thrust. You see? It has no weight. I see that's the issue. So I know how to counteract that. You just gotta introduce that kind of stuff to the situation. Anti-gravity does that because it's usually pretty massive electricity-wise and stuff like that. Which is basically protons at the same time. A few ways to create a momentum in the vacuum. The particle accelerator? Particle accelerators and machine makes electric and magnetic fields. Yeah. Yeah. The particles are released to accelerate. They have a lot of momentum. Fuck, that's not called momentum. That's speed, man. That's speed. You can call it momentum if you want, but that's speed. The same thing. Used to propel objects in a vacuum. That's true. That's absolutely true. And that's exactly what I came up with, man. But I came up with a way to do it without it being the size of what is it, like as big as theirs. You can make them smaller. You don't need that much power either. Looks like there's antimatter involved as well. I'm not surprised that came right along with it. And then they can enhance that to infinity. Copyright. You already know. All rights reserved, motherfucker. Particles are reserved. Yes. Yeah, that one works, not this other shit. Another way to create momentum is use a light cell. A light cell is a very large reflective cell used to capture the momentum of sunlight. The sunlight hits the cell, is reflected back, but also imparts the momentum. Yeah, that would work too. It's just, I keep telling y'all, it's like waters, man. But that rocket shit, nah, that don't work out there, bro. You know it. These two right here, though, that's how you do it, buddy. If you want to go to the stars and stuff, you really want to try and do it, that's how you do it. Get that light cell, get you some anti-gravity and use the light cell. And then, or get some anti-gravity and then use this stuff. Because you're not going to do too well if you're too heavy. Because you're not going to have enough power. You have to use a lot of power to really just reduce your weight and then use the rest to propel yourself. Gotta balance it out, you know. Electric fields are basically just static. When it actually builds up, it's better. I mean, when it moves, then it becomes current. It's the force field part. And once it moves like ours does, like the heaven, you see, it creates the electromagnetic field. I mean, it is the electromagnetic field, even if it wasn't moving. But ours moves to create energy. That's why it says no, electromagnetic fields are the force field, you see. But if you make that force field move, you see, then you got it. Then you got basically like our heaven, you see, you got energy flow. It's not just, so heaven is basically our infinite energy manifest in front of us, you see. Force fields are created by electric charges, you see. So it has an electric charge as well. Mostly coming from Earth, you know, because they're like, you know, it's our projection. That's why you can see like all the continents on the moon and stuff. Probably even underworld stuff. And then electric current is the flow of electric charge, you see. It's the flowing of it. It's like the waters, you see. Yep. Yep, buddy. Electric fields are created by charged particles. The charged particle is placed in a vacuum. You see, like up there, you see? It creates an electric field, you see? Around it. This electric field. So we got a vacuum around it, you see? And then you got your electric field up there, you see? Experts exerts a force on other charged particles that are placed in that field, called gravity. The force that is exerted by the electric field depends on the charge of the particle. Yep. More dense you are, you got a higher charge, more electrons, constant. They don't know that though. For the particle and the distance between the particle and the source of the electric field. See, the distance matters between the particle and the source of the electric field. So for us, it's like the core or the surface. or the electric field up there. It could, if those aren't their own sources. I think the most important one is the source, but I think they all, I understand gravity better than so I know they all have an effect. But the strongest one, which is going to be the source, obviously, is going to overrun all that, at the scale we're talking about with Earth. But it's different at other scales because there's things that could be bigger on at other scales. But with Earth, for the most part, it's not like that. So, let me see. Electrons. Yep. More electrons that are moving, the speed at which they're moving. Yep. Yeah. Faster you spin that stuff. The cross-sectional area, the conductor. Wow, it's getting really detailed. This thing is so exact sometimes. I love it. Electric fields and electric currents are two different things. Electric fields are that stuff in action. Do structural cavity effects create electrical current? You see? This is free energy right here. Because electrical current is amperage. That's what you want. That's why I asked that. I think I asked it online, but I'll see if I asked it up there. Nah, I didn't up there. It's free energy, man. The structural cavity effects can create electrical current. This is because structural cavity has waveguide for the electromagnetic waves. When an electromagnetic wave enters the cavity, it can induce an electric current into the walls of the cavity. This current can be used to power devices to transmit information. There are a few different ways to create structural cavity effects. One way is to use metamaterial. Metamaterials have properties that are not found in natural materials. One type of metamaterial can be used to create structural cavity. It's a photonic crystal, you see. Why these things are useful. Little energy creators. A photonic crystal is a material that has a periodic structure. This periodic structure can cause electromagnetic waves to be reflected or trapped inside the material, causing more interactions. Basically, Cooper waves are free energy. It's the north and the south electrons coupling up. The more electrons you get to have do this, it happens a lot in these structural cavity things. You get free energy. You get literally free energy, and it's at the point where you can literally just put it right in the stuff. You don't have to focus on trying to create a way to use it. It's like really like it's already in the form of amperage. That's what electric current is. Like, for example, magnets, they've been trying to figure, like they know how to use it. That's why they have it in all these motors and stuff. It's called induction. But there's another way of doing it without having to do that. That's basically the superconductors. That's the third way of doing it. It's really using the cavity thing, like, and other, like, superconductors in general are going to have more electrons and stuff like that. And the only way you're going to get the electrons from any kind of conductor or any of these type of things from their magnetic field is basically you're gonna use that, and then you're gonna put it next to a conductor. That's literally it. Like, the conductor basically just kind of makes a direction for it. Like this, see, do regular metals have a magnetic field? I'm not sure. Let's see. It could be just the directional. Conductors. Conductors. have a magnetic field. Yeah, it just needs any kind of energy around it, and it'll pick it up. Really just need two magnetic fields, and that happens in what we call magnets naturally. They just don't understand this stuff. You can't have a magnetic field without current. I knew that from the fucking beginning, though. So magnets are already doing all this. Literally, all you're doing is spinning the damn magnet around it. Like, so if you can get something more effective than a magnet, you know, that's really what you want, you know, if it's possible. But also, you could just simply use conductive stuff with this. But the more conductive, the better. That's really all it takes. It's just like there's one that's going to have a really strong effect, and then there's one used to kind of make it usable. Kind of like a transmission, you know. The engine is the magnet. This conductive material, the more conductive, the better. It's really like, you know, what is it? Crap. That's such a saying going on with that too. Oh yeah, the transmission. The magnet is the motor. This, you know, the magnetic field. You just get two magnetic fields, you're good, you know, pretty much. But really, the magnetic field going to a conductor is going to make it move. So if you got a north and a south, for example, magnet, which happens in a regular magnet, you got it on one side, you got it on the other. They try to say they all spin the same direction, but that's bull crap. It's obvious because when it interacts with another magnet, you can see that it's clearly got positive and negative sides. So it's already doing that, and that's why it's able to create a magnetic field. And then when they use other conductors, they're just like making it directional. It's like the transmission, like I said, you could put it into your motor, or you could put it into your accessories in the vehicle. You can run into anything. All you need is those conductors to be like the wiring, you know, the electronics that are in a car. That's all it is. Like, it gets the power from that motor, though. And the motor is the magnet. Magnet's a good one, but also superconductors that you know I would make that are made out of this stuff I've been talking about. You see how it's free energy? So it's like it's not even close to hard. Structures. Cause the electrons to oscillate. Yeah, it makes them oscillate, but really they're Cooper pairing. But I guess oscillation is Cooper pairing. And when the light hits the metal, it can cause the electrons in the metal to oscillate just off the light. And oscillating. Imagine using light for your power. Like, that would be crazy. If the power of a light bulb is oscillating, electrons can create an electric field. I see, that's why my third and fourth eye and all that stuff pops up when I'm in a light. Wow. Interesting. These oscillating electrons can create an electric field. So it's all about light. That's why when a person went in that form, he looked like a cloud or a light, uh, which can be used to power devices and transmit information. Yep, like usual. Structural cavity effects are promising new technology. Electric current. For creating electric current, they have the potential to be used to create more efficient, powerful machines. They're also being explored for the use of telecommunications and sensing applications. How are some examples of how structural cavity effects are being used to create electrical current? I was just thinking, like, they're using graphene that's like toxic and stuff. Toxic. I think that we could make like our own kind of stuff, but it's like not something like lead. It's something healthy, like gold or something healthy like silver, maybe. Maybe even another element like hydrogen. Literally, like, this stuff works so good, you can get hydrogen to become conductive. It's just called insulation, man. Like, because when you got in the tunnels, that's insulation. You see, it's a different type though, more effective, like just really good. So let me see, solar structure cells, cavities. Structure can be on track when light travels more light to be converted to electricity. Yeah, that's true. It would trap the light and all that more effectively for solar panels, and it would increase the brightness of the LEDs because it's got more power. Structural cavity can help to direct the light emitted, which makes it brighter and more efficient. Yep. Sensor structural cavity. Yeah, make it more sensitive. Yeah. Trap the electromagnetic waves. Yep. Make it more sensitive. It can enhance anything. This is like what my power has always been. But I did it in a totally different way. Like I said, I can use it on stuff like more freely. And what they're talking about right here, I'm sure this will be revolutionary either way. People are really underestimating what this is. It's a little kind of got me wondering, what are they going to do with it, What is it going to, how far does it go? Scary stuff, to be honest, So it says for the structural cavity. Generate and use electricity. Yeah, now start talking about this. So there you go. Yeah, boy. Just chill. Oh, yeah, I guess we could. I already explained gravity and all that stuff to you, kind of. Could get more into that, but nah. Enough talk. I want to have a little fun tonight. Tired of making videos and being up all night. I'm already gonna be up like another. I gotta watch some shit, I don't know. I like to watch my videos. It's fun. I'll be up like another hour or two, probably at least. It's gonna probably take half an hour at least to get this up.